take up row number 10. The 11th row from the B main, Steve Butler, Gary Cameron the second, and then the final row, Sid Blandford Jr. and Jimmy Carr from British Columbia.
Yeah, I think Jack Hodshield's got the advantage sitting here right now. Here's your in-car camera with Johnny Herrera in the Burger King car, but Herrera's sitting, Hodshield's right up 2 rows in front of him there, the yellow car. He's sitting in the driver's seat right now. He should take off with the lead on this thing pretty easy.
This could be dramatic. Track conditions less than ideal.
But everybody has to race on the same racetrack.
Terry McCarl had a wild start. He crossed right in front of everybody, but managed to keep it all together. Hodshield leading going down the next straightaway. Hodnett in that number 4 is second. The McDonald's car with Ballinger has just taken second spot. Ballinger in second. We've got a car against the wall.
Around up in 3 and 4. He got it just a little bit loose up there in the crumbs. Got a little too high. The thing went all the way around on him.
Fast break. Dale Blaney fast broke just a little too hard. The former college and incidentally pro basketball player once made the L.A. Lakers team. Dale Blaney, who has really come on as a sprint car driver, particularly in the 1992 season.
Hodnett has turned his car around down
under
there.
Yellow.
Here's a replay of Dale Blaney spinning the car around, and I can't tell who that was, but whoever that was got around the outside of it was very lucky to get through.
Well, let's take a look at the Blaney spin again, and what's happening here, particularly for an inexperienced driver. The track is very dry, and Jeff, as you hit those dry spots, that 7 car, by the way, is Ricky Hood? Yes.
No, I think that's Pete Butler.
That's Pete Butler going down the high
water
side.
Well, actually, what it is, the track's real crummy up there on top. It's like taking a bunch of cereal and throwing it out on the table. You get up there and you run up in it, the tires break loose. They don't have anything to grab a hold of, and it's real easy to turn the car around.
All right, Ralph.
You know, Larry, we've chronicled the trials and tribulations of this car here, Mark Amenda's car. A good, hard luck racer. You know, he blew his engine up here earlier today. The guys here pitted right across from him. In the Nance car, they said, Mark, we got an engine back in L.A. If you're willing to drive to L.A. and pick it up, you can have it. Come racing with us tomorrow. Mark Amenda's on his way to L.A.
A 42-year-old Streeter, Illinois driver, very active in the Say No to Drug campaign that many of the athletes around the country are involved in, and he has been a very interesting sidebar story that has threatened to become headlines here at Manzanita this winter. Mark Amenda learning how to race on a budget, learning how to race through the good graces of his friends, and that story continues. You're looking at Dan Lesoski again.
Well, there's Danny Lesoski trying to get through there to us. Come back. Is it a little dusty out there, Danny?
Back, I couldn't understand you.
Track a little dusty. How hard is it to see actually from the cockpit of the car?
It's pretty bumpy out here. There's really not a smooth place around. You just got to pick and choose where everybody is.
Danny Lesoski comes into this main event with 94 points, about 33, not about, exactly 33 behind Sammy Swindell. Danny has not won one of these races yet in the series. We've had 7 races. I mentioned that Sammy Swindell and Dave Blaney have won 2. The other 3 winners have been Jack Hodshield, Mark Kinser, and Steve Kinser, who was expected here today, but was apparently not able to get back from his weekend or make his winter vacation in Australia. Steve, of course, one of the drivers who was invited.
He's in Talladega, Larry. He is testing a Winston Cup car today. That's where Steve Kinser is. And you just saw Sammy Swindell. This is one of the last times you may have an opportunity to watch Sammy run a sprint car. He's given it up. He's even got his home for sale. The cars, the equipment is all for sale. He says, maybe I'll run an event now and then, but I am going stock car racing. And I'll tell you, he did such a beautiful job in his heat. He will be fun to watch starting in the middle of this feature.
Bringing the field around will be Worcester, Ohio's Jack Hodshield. Jack, of course, from a real hotbed of racing in north central Ohio there. He came up with Brad Doty a few years ago and took the sprint car racing world by storm. It's a very interesting part of the country where you go by a candlelit Amish home next door to a home that's got a race car trailer sitting outside.
If you look up in front of you there, you can see the white number 4, Greg Hodnett. Well, under the yellow, he got the car turned around up there where Dale was sitting, and he's trying to go back into the front of the pack, but I don't think they're going to let him stay up there. He's going to have to go back to the rear of the pack, because once you stop on the racetrack, if you restart the field, you got to continue back on the tail of the field.
Greg Hodnett, just 23 years of age. He was actually the Memphis Motorsports Park champion at age 18 4 years ago. He graduated this past August from Memphis State University. He's a Tiger. He graduated cum laude in mechanical engineering.
We're riding with another Tiger, Johnny Herrera. He's only got one outlaw win in his entire career, but he's got a great starting position here. He's in the 5th position. He's in the inside row. That's probably the best place to be. We'll see. Maybe today could be number 2 for Johnny Herrera.
Hodshield in yellow, Steve Ballinger in red. The mixed sprint on the outside of the front row. Hodshield in the Pennzoil car will be bringing him around. You will ride with Johnny Herrera at the start. Now, Herrera is starting inside the first 3 rows. He's on the outside of this race. Now he has moved. Is that he? Yes.
Yeah, that's Herrera.
Has moved to the inside with the retirement to the rear of Greg Hodnett. We're going to give you a view of what a professional sprint car driver sees at the start of a major race.
A lot of times on a slick track like this where the bottom is the perfect place to be, sometimes what you want to do is you want to move the guy on the outside up just a little bit to get him in a little bit worse track conditions, and you can turn the car hard left when they take on it and stand on the gas, and hopefully you get underneath everybody.
Round 8, the World Series. Sometimes confusing world of professional sprint car racing, and Jack Hodshield did not get the jump this time. Steve Ballinger from Sioux Falls, South Dakota did.
Ballinger is absolutely running. This is the best we've seen him race today. Boy, look how fast they're running. That speed shot shows you just how quick these cars are. There's your leader, Ballinger, going down the back straightaway now. Whoa, what a ride with Danny Lesoski. Live feature event, Manzanita Speedway. He is working that car, working that wheel. Cars in front of him, cars behind him. What a ride.
Danny Lesoski is in 4th position right now. Lesoski is the one who has the best chance at perhaps of catching Sammy Swindell. Lesoski jumps way over what cushion is left and loses at least 1 position.
Yeah, you saw Lesoski's fist go in the air. He wasn't happy at all about what just happened to him.
That was Rocky Hodges who had moved underneath Lesoski. There is Sammy Swindell. Dick, you mentioned he certainly would be a man to keep our eyes peeled on to this race. And Swindell right now is running in the 8th position, and certainly one of the ones trying to work his way up.
Did you see him close on Herrera? He just does not let off the gas. That is not car, ladies and gentlemen. That is driver. That is what a really great sprint car driver can do. That thing came right off the ground. He capitalized and gained position. We're going to have a yellow flag. Come on the back.
7 of McCarl. He's done stopped the car on the back straightaway. He had such a great run going here today, too.
Oh, and a flip in corner number 4. I caught it out of the corner of my eye as the field was slowing down.
That's Pete Butler, the 7 car, looks like. Yes, it is.
Pete Butler tumbled in corner number 4, bouncing high into the air as the yellow flag flickered here.
That's some bad luck there, because when the yellow was already coming out also for the 27 car on the back straightaway, and then he ended up in the wall down in turn 3 and 4.
Again, the yellow being brought about by the new dad, Terry McCarl. Terry McCarl, whose birth from him and his wife was widely awaited here and anticipated.
I think Lori's going to tell you she had most to do with it.
On the Slick 50 World Series.
Pete Butler now climbing out of his race car. He's from Maplevale, Arkansas. Says it's right next to Little Rock, Arkansas.
Well, there are a lot of things to clear up here, a lot of confusion.
It's a little rough out there when you get slick spots like that. You get tacky spots. You get a little bit of a roughness in there involved with it. You've got all the elements of a racetrack right here at one, so you really have to do double duty.
5 laps have been completed. This race will go 25 laps or 30 minutes. There is a 30-minute time limit so that we can show you the checkered flag and crown a winner before we go off the air. And we've got 25 minutes to go or 20 laps, whichever comes first. Ballinger slips out of the racing lane, coming out of corner number 4. The green flag had actually dropped in the back straightaway, and Jack Hodshield, he took advantage.
Yeah, he jumped right out, got out in the loose stuff, and that's something you can't do, especially coming off of 4 or either of the corners, actually turn 2 or 4. But Hod took advantage of it, and he's starting to drive away now. But Danny Lesoski is coming hard.
Yeah, Lesoski has just picked up 2nd spot for Ballinger. Ballinger doing all he can to hang on to that lead. Look at Sammy Swindell on the high side. Swindell has just taken the measure of Keith Kaufman in car number 29. He's running in 5th spot.
In 1992, Sammy Swindell, as the yellow flag comes out,
Yeah,
Greg Hodnett. has come to a stop right in the middle of the front stretch. I was about to say that Swindell had won 32 times in 1992. Again, there's Greg Hodnett, but Swindell had won 32 times in 1992, and that was despite running on an abbreviated schedule. Now, Jeff, there's something we have seen, what, 3 times now, once on tape, and twice in the series, the front wing coming off and blocking the driver's point of view. I hadn't seen that in 10 years, and now we've seen it 3 times in the space of the last 3 weeks in the Slick 50 Sprint Car World Series. Stay with us. Laps or 7 minutes complete. Jack Hodshield, Steve Ballinger, Danny Lesoski, Rocky Hodges, and Sammy Swindell is 5th. Keith Kaufman is 6th, Ricky Hood 7th, Johnny Herrera 8th, Aaron Burial 9th, and Kenny Jacobs 10th. Restart, midpoint of the back straightaway. 19 minutes to go on this one. Ken Hodshield, hold on. Can Danny Lesoski move around Ballinger? Here comes Swindell on the high side. This could be a Danny Lesoski, Sammy Swindell race, although Rocky Hodges sneaks underneath Swindell with all the confusion in the bottom of corner number 4.
Oh, and Sammy has just run into Keith Kaufman, or Keith Kaufman has run into him, and that didn't slow him down at all.
It's like a political move. It depends on what viewpoint you're looking at, who was making the viewpoint, whose fault it was. Keith Kaufman in his first ride in the Weichert Beef Machine, the car number 29 out of Pennsylvania.
Swindell hanging on to that 3rd position, Larry. We're waiting to see if a tire might go down. He did
Lead
have
change
contact.
going into 3. Danny Lesoski took the lead.
Whoa, look at this.
Hodshield tried to come back, but he got up in the loose stuff, and Danny says, "We'll see ya."
The dude who is yet to win here in the 1992-93 Winter Series asserts himself. Danny the Dude Lesoski says, "Come on, Swindell, bring it on." That's Sammy, not Jeff.
That's it.
And Sammy
Round the outside for 3rd. That car is going good.
Caution.
Oh, now I have to
Caution
go back
flag.
behind Hodges.
What a tough break for Danny Lesoski. Yeah, he would like Swindell to come on, but Lesoski had a cushion of about 200 yards. So Danny Lesoski really is the victim of this yellow flag. Boy, that's a shame, because Danny, as we mentioned a number of times, has not won here yet this year. He and crew chief and owner Guy Forbrook really looking forward to picking up a checkered flag after one of these.
You see him shake his fist. He knew he's doing well.
Yeah, Danny Lesoski really happy. Now let's take a look, Jeff, and see how he did it as he moved in on Hodshield.
Actually, what happened, Hodshield let the car get a little bit too high coming off a 2. When you get up there in the slick, you lose the bite. Danny got the drive coming off a 2, therefore he got the run on him going into 3, and when he did, he made Hodshield go up into the loose stuff, and Danny just held onto it, and he is gone.
Dick, that last little move when Hod turned on the jets was kind of interesting, wasn't it?
Well, let's keep an eye on what happened to Sammy Swindell here. He's got the U2 of Rocky Hodges in front of him. He's got Kaufman behind him. And watch this. Kaufman, and on the outside is the number 1 Ballinger, and here comes the contact. Bang, you saw it, the smoke between those 2 cars. Question now, will those tires hold up for the duration of the race? Here's a second angle on it.
Is that bite who was coming up there on the high side?
That's Ballinger on the outside. Actually, Sammy got a run, and he got around Kaufman and Hodges on that restart and was about to go between Hodges and Ballinger, but Ballinger got on the outside, blocked him in, then he ended up behind everybody going into 1.
What about this Steve Ballinger, this 35-year-old driver from Sioux Falls, South Dakota? This is the most muscle we've seen from this guy.
I'm impressed. He had never seen this racetrack before the series began, and the first 2 weeks he couldn't even make the program through his heat. He won the C-Main the first 2 weeks we were here, and now look at him. Legitimate contender to win the feature event. That is significant progress.
He has won 34 features in 5 years of racing, from mini sprints to full-size sprints back home in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Steve Ballinger of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, a real hotbed of sprint car racing.
Well, we'll see if we can't get Danny online here. We've got him hooked up to the radio. Danny, can you hear me?
10-4.
Well, looks like you got that thing going pretty good now. What's the key to it?
Right now we got lucky. I found a little path that's smoother than the other. Just run in the top and dive it across the bottom. Just hop over the hole.
Well, you're doing a good job of it. Looks like you've got it pretty much handled. Sammy Swindell is your only problem right now. He's running in 3rd. He looks pretty fast, but I think Hodshield's going to hold him back for a little while. So just hang on to it.
We'll do our best. I'm giving her everything we got. So we'll just hope for the best.
You can continuing under the yellow flag here in the main event at Manzanita, the Sprint Car World Series.
Jimmy Carr's front end pretty well neutralized in this thing. He will certainly be out for the day. Ugh, that's expensive. That's a lot of pieces and parts to put that together. They're running through the quarter-mile racetrack in the infield. That saves time, saves fuel. We want to get all the laps in if we possibly can. We've got 9 laps down, however. This is a 25-lap contest.
And we're checking on the time limit. As mentioned a number of times, there is a 30-minute time limit on this. As we watch Jimmy Carr's car come back into the pits, I was reminded about Doug Wolfgang. A lot of people continue to ask about him. He is making progress. Incidentally, another driver who was seriously injured mid-summer of 1992 asked me to pass along his thanks to everybody. Mac McClellan, he will no longer be behind the wheel of a midget or a sprint car, but he's also coming along. We're getting ready to go back to green flag. Hodshield protects his position. Swindell does not get it on the restart. Lesoski does not get a big jump, but he protects his line, but Swindell moves underneath. Here it is. It's head-to-head. Number 5, number 1.
Hodshield let the thing get just up a little bit too high again, but Sammy bounces the car back up now, and Hodshield goes back up to
Oh, what an amazing moment. What an amazing scene out of nowhere.
And here he goes again. Look at this. Trading that second spot back and forth, back and forth.
And Hod goes to 4th.
He even lost 3rd to Keith Kaufman. Keith Kaufman is a cagey veteran driver. He may not be as fancy. He's throwing those big rooster tails to some of them, but he's very smooth and he has a good car. He's a force.
And that's a good car. He's got 5 outlaw wins. He knows what he's doing here at Manzanita. He's an experienced race car driver.
When you make those kamikaze moves to get the lead from somebody or get a position from somebody, you got to make sure you maintain that going into the next corner. You got to back the thing back down. Hod drove it a little too hard that last shot, but Danny's got this thing hooked up and going real well. He's got a nice lead right now.
He really does. Lesoski looks very strong. He is, about 20 car lengths ahead of second-running Sammy Swindell. Kaufman is 3rd. Jack Hodschild is 4th. Rocky Hodge is 5th. Herrera running 6th. Ricky Hood 7th. Eric Burial 8th. Steve Ballinger, the mixed sprint, is 9th, and Kenny Jacobs is 10th.
Lesoski has only won these things a few times. You can better believe there's a lot of excitement in Danny Lesoski's heart right now. 3 career outlaw wins, looking for number 4. He's got the lead. It's a solid lead. Sammy Swindell in second spot. Yellow flag.
Down in turn 2, Greg Hodnett. And then we got a car upside down, just turned over then. Another one after the fact.
The yellow flag has been the most dangerous part of this race. Now we really begin to approach our 30-minute time limit. And you begin also to wonder, how does Danny Lesoski feel about this? Yeah, he'd like to see that 30 minutes come up, but the car was running so well, given that under those last green flag conditions, Dick, I'm sure he did not like to see this yellow flag come out.
No, when you got a good solid lead like that, you want the green to stay out. You want to keep on the gas. You don't want to have anything break your concentration. Most importantly, once again, he's got Sammy Swindell on the back bumper of that car. That gives Sammy another opportunity to get him on the restart.
The restart will be exciting here because Sammy will try hard, and I would guess that Sammy's going to try to go into 3 around the top side and come back around in front of him and hope that Danny makes a mistake.
That's the Barry Mobile with Ricky Hood behind the wheel, who got upside down. The Barry car, by the way, is the last car that Billy Vukovich III drove in his racing career. Very happy to see that family has chosen to remain in auto racing. It was a very emotional time a couple years ago when Billy Vukovich III was lost. It was in this team, and they were close to the family before, and they've remained close afterwards. And we all who are close to the sport certainly remember Billy Vukovich. Ralph.
Now, Guy, you were communicating with your driver, Danny Lesoski. What are you telling him?
Well, I'm trying to tell him to use his head the first lap here in this restart so Sammy can't get underneath him, because I think once we get the momentum going, we can get away again.
Now, you guys made some changes to the car. What did you do? Why is it working so well?
Well, after we ran the heat race and that guy hit us in the heat race, the car was all bent up in the heat race, and we talked it over, and we've been running second here so many times this season, we decided to go for broke, and we went for broke, and so far it's working.
One thing we ought to point out, gentlemen, Guy had a bunch of special parts flown down here, and at the last minute he decided, you know, I think I know what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to go with what I know, and it's working here today.
Danny, the dude, Lesoski, let's take a look at both the cars, see what condition they're in. They appear to be in pretty good shape. Don't see anything awry.
Yeah, actually, Danny looks real good. One thing I noticed about Sammy's car, he must have the thing the wing pushed all the way back on the car right now, trying to get the drive off in that slick part because he's got the wing stood way up on the car right now.
Now there is Hodshield moving underneath Sammy Swindell. Look at Hodshield standing on the throttle. He lifts those left front wheels, or the front wheels, off the ground. A very dangerous maneuver for just a split second.
Yeah, actually, when you got that much wing in the car, it makes it harder to get through the holes, but it gives you a better forward bite in the dry slick. Sometimes it's a give and take, and the driver has to determine where he wants that wing. Sammy's got his back, Danny's got his about midway.
The all-important restart coming up. Let's see how Lesoski plays it. This may be the most important part of the race right there. Lesoski on the gas. He seems to do a pretty smooth job. He grabs the bottom lane. He protects it. He holds Swindell out of it. Third place is side-by-side. Swindell
going it away, takes the lead.
Oh,
And he needs to lead. He is out of tear-offs. Sammy Swindell has no more tear-offs. He has got to be out in front because any dirt in his face, he can't clean it off anymore.
oh, Danny Lesoski had this one in his hip pocket. Sammy Swindell, no jump on the restart. He just whistled her through 3 and 4. He had the right line. He had the car postured just properly. Got a tremendous fight on this dry racetrack. Coming out of corner number 4, and Swindell swept to the lead.
This car has finished no worse than third in any event. Heat or feature race here so far. We've got 10 to go with Sammy in the lead. Whoa, trouble on the home stretch.
It's Ballinger.
Butler on the home straightaway has hit the wall. Right rear tire has shattered. That will cause a yellow flag.
Steve Butler, we had 10 laps to go, getting very close to our time limit. Butler, it looked like the tire had gone down, but once he got into the fence, of course, it caused a lot more damage than that. But Steve Butler, lumberjack, Zero Woolley, Washington, comes to sort of an ignominious end here to his day.
And as he bangs the steering wheel, I think you have a pretty good idea what his emotion might be at the moment. He's not a happy camper.
Well, this could turn some very interesting wheels in the minds of Danny Lesoski and Sammy Swindell. Jeff, first to you. What do you think? Did Lesoski get out-snookered, or was Swindell just holding back a little bit and he let it loose when the green flag dropped the last time?
I don't think
189 career outlaw victories, looking to make it 190. He leads here at Manzanita as this race draws to a close. Second position, Lesoski, trailing. He cannot do anything with Sammy Swindell. Do we have enough fuel in these cars to go the distance? Do we have enough time to go the distance? There's the distance between first and second. Look at this race.
Jack Hodshield in the first yellow car goes to the high side of Kenny Jacobs, a neighbor back home in Amish country in northern Ohio. They are battling for third position with Pennsylvania's Keith Kaufman. Now inside of the 3-minute deadline for the conclusion of this race. So things are happening very quickly. The white flag could literally fly at any moment. Right now, the race officials here are in contact with the TNN. As you know, there is a time limit on these races. We race right up to the point where we have to go off the air. So we are very close to the end, and it's like a time bomb. Nobody knows exactly when it's going to go off.
Steve Ballinger has pitted. Sammy Swindell in the black number 1 continues to lead. Lesoski continues in second spot. He's a long way back from this car, this black number 1. Kaufman is in third spot, and he is a good distance back in his position.
Lesoski really has dropped a long ways back. The wild child. Hodshield is 4th. Kenny Jacobs is 5th. Mark Kinser in the bright orange 5 is 6th. Johnny Herrera 7th. Tulsa, Oklahoma area driver Aaron Berryhill is 8th. Gary Lee Meyer having a good day here at Manzanita's 9th. And Rocky Hodges is in 10th position.
Here we come on a bunch of lap traffic now. This is where it's going to get really interesting. This is what shows a really good driver.
Yeah, he's going to run up high where it's really rough, and that's not a fun place to be, I'm sure.
Swindell has him too abreast momentarily in front of him. He goes up there where all the potholes are. A slower car, that's Gary Cameron, who's in front of Swindell, giving Lesoski a big opportunity to get closer. Yellow flag comes out.
Got one upside down on the back straightaway. Looks like Hodshield.
Jack Hodshield, who was tempting fate all race long. We've seen some of those death-defying dives into the corners. Hodshield trying to climb out there. You can see on the bottom right-hand side of your screen the yellow uniform of Jack Hodshield wiggling to get out. should we have an opportunity now to go back to green, I feel very certain we'll see a green-white checker, and depending upon time constraints, we may see a checker flag under yellow flag conditions. How Child, hey, he always gets out somehow, doesn't he?
He's been real lucky. He's been through a lot of crashes, but he stands on the gas.
Jack's had some of the more historic crashes in sprint car racing, Dick. One of them right here, early spring of 1992, when he lost his steering coming on number 2 and went almost head-on to the wall.
Yeah, and one a few weeks back right here on TNN when he went into the first corner and the throttle stuck, or he stayed in it, whatever did happen, he just turned it end over end, side over side. That was a wild crash with his same car, so that's twice he's been upside down in the series.
Other drivers who are still on the track running inside the top 15, the Santa Cruz, California driver Kevin Pilot, Dale Fast Break Blaney from Hartford, Ohio, Randy Hannigan from San Jose, and Fred Brownfield, the Steve Butler buddy, is still on the track as attrition has cut into about 30% of this field. But Sammy Swindell, no problem with attrition there. Swindell would probably like to end this weekend with 2 victories, if indeed this is his last sprint car weekend ever, his last sprint car weekend in a long time. I'm sure these 2 wins mean as much to him as anything in his career.
No matter what, Larry, I think it's fair to say this is one of the final times that we'll have to watch one of the all-time greats in sprint car racing. He is going to go to stock cars. He's quite serious about it. He's wanted to do it all along. Says he's 37 years old. Now is the time. See him wiping his visor there. He is out of tear-offs. So this is a break in a way for Sammy Swindell in that he was in a lot of traffic, and that was throwing dirt in his face, making it very hard for him to see.
All right, Jeff, did you get word this will be green-white checker and this race is over, right? All right, green-white checker. We are going to run over just a little bit. As you see footage courtesy of Greg Stevens Motorsports Video. We also would like to thank Bruce Craig, who was involved in supplying some historic video, which will be a part of the racing coverage this weekend here at Manzanita, California. Bruce Craig from California. There's Kevin Pilot. He's got a problem with his race car. The front wing has dropped down.
Yeah, actually, we've only got 2 laps left to go, so it will be a green-white checkered. So it's very critical getting in that first corner. Make sure you get your momentum back and you get your rhythm working real good, because a rough, slick racetrack like this really catch you if you don't really run hard.
Snyder Video Productions, another entity involved in supplying some historic video for this weekend's racing. Again, we remind you that we have gone a little bit over the time deadline, and it will be, go ahead, Jeff, you got some updated information?
Yeah, actually what we're going to do here is we're going to throw the green and we're going to throw the white at the same time. So all we've got to do is hold it on for one lap.
Very unusual for the world of
they're off.
Here we go. This is the whole deal right here.
Look at Kaufman goes to the high side of Lesoski.
Well, Lesoski tried to get the jump on Sammy so he could get in there. It didn't work.
Keith Kaufman. Bob Weichert's got to be happy about that. Keith Kaufman giving the Weichert people quite a ride. Checkered flag coming up this time around. Swindell, he's disappearing. He has got about 100, 125, 130-yard difference. Second place, very much up for grabs. Here comes the checkered flag. It's going to go to Swindell. Keith Kaufman is second. Third goes Lesoski. Herrera was fourth. And Kenny Jacobs was in 5th position. But what a gratifying ride for Pennsylvania Mifflintown's Keith Kaufman. Swindell, Kaufman, Lesoski, Herrera, and Kenny Jacobs. Once again, the unofficial top 5. We will be back here tomorrow night. Check your local listings. Remember, the time is a little different this time than weeks before, but it will be the finals of the 1992-93 Slick 50 Sprint Car World Series. Mike Joy will be back here along with Jeff Swindell, Dick Bergen, and Ralph Shaheen. So check those listings, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
Darrell Waltrip, Nashville Now, Thursday night.